Hey, what's going on YouTube? Son of Sanguinius here, and today we're going to be continuing our Blood Angels Tactics videos with a look at the standard Predator. That's right, the classic tank of the Space Marines. So the Predator comes in at 75 points. It is Ballistic Skill 4, Front Armor 13, Side Armor 11, Rear Armor 10, with 3 hull points. For War Gear, it has an autocannon, searchlight, and smoke launchers. For options, it may replace its autocannon with a twin-linked lascannon for 25 points. It may take 2 side sponsons, which are both armed with one of the following: heavy bolters for 20 points or lascannons for 40 points. It can take overcharged engines for 10 points, and it may take items from the Blood Angels vehicle equipment list. Alright, so the Predator. I see the Predator as kind of the ideal anti-armor vehicle, mainly because you can essentially, in the best case scenario, get 3 lascannon shots off, one of them being twin-linked. I say anti-armor simply because the Ball Predator really has anti-infantry covered. If you want a DACA Pred, the Ball Predator is by far the superior choice, in my humble opinion. Simply because an assault cannon just puts out more shots. It's twin-linked, and you can give it the heavy bolter sponsons as you can with the normal Predator. But moving on to this, the Predator. So we're gonna go for like an anti-armor build here. So that means a twin-linked lascannon with 2 lascannon sponsons. What else could we give it? Well, the overcharge engines for sure. Not only does this mean that it's a fast vehicle, but it also gives us some more maneuverability on the table, because we are more likely than not going to have to get this Predator in a position where it needs to fire. And the good news is, with the overcharged engines, when it does get to where it needs to go, it can then fire up to 2 of its weapons at full ballista skill, even though it had already moved 12 in the movement phase. So that, of course, is good. And along with this, you may want to consider the Dozer Blade for getting over those pesky shrubs that immobilize your vehicles by getting stuck in the tracks. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Nothing sucks worse than putting a lot of points into a vehicle, whether it be a Land Raider or a Predator or Rhino or whatever it is, only to have it, get stuck on a bush and then get shot to hell. That's not very conducive to winning. So some other ideas here. We could look at something like a Hunter Killer Missile, just for a little bit of extra firepower. Now, some may not agree that would be a worthy investment, simply because you're paying 10 points for 1 shot. And that's perfectly reasonable, especially when you consider that you're already going to have 3 lascannons on this thing anyway. You may not, you may not necessarily need that 4th shot, but it can be there for a little extra punch. So just some other things to consider. It is Front Armor 13, so when possible, you really want to only be showing your opponent your front armor whenever possible. Obviously, if you turned it to the side, you could get definitely a sponson on target along with the turret-mounted gun there. However, whenever possible, I would always recommend just presenting your front armor to the opponent, simply because that way it's more difficult to take out. Just as with all vehicles, just make sure you can adequately support it, because as soon as you start laying down lascannon shots turn after turn, your opponent is not going to waste any time trying to remove this to sort of keep their vehicles. And that's really all I got to say in this video. It's a classic Space Marine tank. Try and keep it in cover with it whenever possible. Prioritize targets and rock and roll. So anyway, I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.